Hey Nerdchachos, welcome to episode 11 of Try Not to Suck at Airport CEO. How have we got to episode 11? How has that happened? I in between this episode and the last episode, we left off with the issue with the fuel tankers for some reason going missing. I've done some reading up, and apparently there's a bug in the game at the moment to do with fuel depots, not fuel depots, sorry, vehicle depots. They apparently, if you have more capacity for vehicles than you do vehicles, they go back to the depot and they disappear off the face of the planet. So apparently the fix for now, whilst we're waiting for an official fix, is to close a couple of your depots and have your vehicles roaming around the airport. Um, and if they're roaming around the airport, they don't get forgotten by the game, and so they can still be used. But it also seems to reactivate sporadically some of your other vehicles that are in other depots as well. So this is what I've done. Well, that's what I've done outside of the episode. I've just turned off these two. So what I also did was deleted or sold all of my old vehicles that we had. All of the slow vehicles, and they're now all the same vehicle type. They've all been filled up with fuel, etc. So I've had to do a little bit of upgrading work off camera, I'm afraid. But it was in order to be able to make it work. As a result, we did end up with a load of delays to flights, and there was a bit of disruption to service, and our rating has taken a hit. And what I also had to do was just cancel. I can't see it. Cancel a batch of flights just to clear the backlog. But we're back in a much better place. We've got this workaround, so it doesn't stop us from playing. It doesn't stop us from doing anything. And like I say, the devs are also really good at fixing this sort of thing. So I've reported the bug. As have many others on the discussion forums, it seems. So for now, we can carry on. We're still making money. We've still got an airport. We're still servicing flights. So let's crack on. Let's carry on. So we're in a position now where we're starting to think about our second terminal. We've been doing this quite a lot. I've noticed on this terminal now, the number of stands we've got and the runway capacity, we shouldn't open any more stands here. This should now be what we're servicing. If we were to realistically open any more stands or gates, then we're going to need to increase the runway capacity. But as you can see, we can't do that because we just don't have room without building another runway. We could look at sharing the capacity of this runway up here, but that's going to then start to affect the general aviation, so I don't really want to do that. I want to keep this one as isolated as possible. So I'm happy with the terminal as it is. So let's spend a couple of episodes maybe, or a couple of moments maybe, just to tart this up a little bit, just to make it look a little bit better. Notice that the passenger rating for the terminal still isn't very good, and I think it's because we haven't decorated anything out here. So this is what I just wanted to do, is just to make sure that we're making the terminal as nice as we can without going overboard and over the top. In terms of research projects, we've finished the 3 that we wanted to do here. We've only got the 2 left. That's the last ones to do. So we're going to do those. There we go. And I'm going to allocate my people to it. So that's a biggie. That's not so big. Actually, let's take one off there, put one on there. So that's going 3 to 7. So and what we can then do is use our administrators on these tasks down here, so we can start to have slightly better airport operations. I don't think I've got the contractors in. They've all gone. And nothing else has changed in between the episodes. The only difference being that we left the episode with this being built, but whilst I was playing this out to make sure that it was still working, the contractors had finished building here. So that's the only thing that we really missed off camera. Nothing else has changed. Okay, so let's carry on with our decoration. So you'll notice at night this gets very dark very quickly. So we're going to need a bit more decoration. We're going to need a bit more lights. We're going to need a few more lights. We're going to need some things. So let's do that. I've noticed we've got no bins anyway, no trash cans. So let's fix that first off. So we're going to place them down wherever there's high traffic and wherever there's a little bit of rubbishness going on, and we definitely need them here in the restaurant areas. We've not done that yet, so let's do that. Let's also have one here next to these two vending machines. Going to need them in this area somewhere. So let's put. I kind of want to keep them out of the way, but you want them accessible at the same time. It's a strange sort of paradox, really, isn't it? There you go. Let's put one next door to just as you're leaving, like that. Okay. Let's have one by the toilets in the restaurant area, in the shop. We want them down here as well, don't we? So let's go down here by the door, by the vending machines in the restaurant area. There's one there. Let's place them by the gates again. You don't want to be taking rubbish onto the airplane. There you go. Down the bottom here. And then by the bins, by the toilets. Great, okay. Let's do some decorating outside then. So we want some plants. Do you want a statue? Do we want a car statue? And not, how big are they? Oh, they're okay. Pilot, oh, an airplane. Let's do a couple of airplane statues. One there. One there. Let's do one there. And let's say one there. What I definitely would like to do is take the plants and have them at the doors. This makes it a little bit more inviting. Like this, and like this. I'd like to put some more plants within the restaurants as well. So let's separate off here. Actually, let's use the hedge. Down there and up there. Oh no, we can't because we've got the. That's fine. Okay. Brilliant. So let's also have our airport logo. So this is our airport logo here. Nerdchachos International. And let's have that by the door. By the door. This is cool. This is a cool little feature. Being able to have your airport logo. Okay. Do we want some here by the exits maybe? Have it there. Okay, so let's have some more plants. More statue. Okay, so street lighting wise then, we're going to need to light the way, so because we're not doing this at the moment. So let's do one there, there, there and there. Now let's copy that, put them there as well, so it's the same. Let's do the same down here as well, same position. So one at the top of the grid, there, and there, and then let's carry this theme on there and there as well. Okay, so that's going to give us some lighting. We need to do the same along here. So let's go across there, and across there as well, just not that one. And we'll do the same up here as well. going roughly in the middle where we can. There. Perfect. Okay. So we could do with. No, we don't need floodlights. That's fine. We can do that the other side. Singular ones. They're the ones we're using now, aren't they? We definitely want to light up the crossings. We need to think about people's safety. There. Let's go there. Some more. I'm not going to copy it this time because it will also copy the crosswalk. We've already got that place there, so need to come down here and do the same. And then this way, do the same. Actually, let's make that in line. And let's copy all of this as well. There we go. Okay, so now we just need some more decorative-y type things. So let's go for we're going to go for hedges, or we're going to go for plants. We've got plant-wise. Do 2 plants there, maybe? 2 plants there. I'm just thinking how real airports do it. They don't really take too much notice, do they, of how they decorate things, but I think it's nice for us to take the opportunity to do it. Let's go for, I know there's benches in here as well, so let's go for one there, an outdoor bench. That way? Yeah, it's that way. Let's go there, 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 and there. Go for another one of those. And we can do a copy and paste job again. Let's do. We're kind of going to want these where there's places for people to wait, aren't we? So like bus stops and everything. So they're not actually standing as much. So let's go here. Now there is. I know there used to be a cover, a bus stop cover. Is that still a thing? Is it still a thing? I'm sure it is. Okay, well, let's just carry on with what we were doing. Taxis. There as well. And then just go ahead and do the same all along here. Make sure it lines up. And then, oh, that's not quite, is it? It's the same as all of the others. So let's make that the same. Like that, okay? That's also the same. We sort of slipped at some point, didn't we? So let's move that. That there. That there. There and there. Okay, so let's clutter up our entire outside with seats and all sorts of things. And one that side. Let's. Is that enough space? That's too much. Let's do a bespoke one. I reckon a hedge along here just to decorate it some more. So hedge along there, and I reckon some sort of. Is there a 2-seater? that a 2-seater? No, it's a 3-seater. Okay, that's fine. We can put a light there, can't we? So put it there. And let's have a street light there. Let's spam around our airplane sculpture some more places. Let's go there, shall we? Where else? I think that's it now, because it's already on there. Okay, lovely. So we're starting to get a bit more of a feel for this outside space now, and we're going to start making this look a bit better. So let's bring in our contractors and get them to build all of those things. Oh, bins outside, don't we? We still need bins outside. Let's put them along the road, and then come down here and put them sort of in the middle. Like this. Okay, and then let's put them there too. Not going to put them there because you can't really get to it, can you? Okay, look, it's coming together. Don't know whether our passengers will actually end up using them or not, but at least it still looks good. And hopefully we're going to start seeing our rating improve because we've now dealt with outside as well. I'm just going to double check again to see whether I can find. I'm sure there used to be a shelter that you could use on your bus. Oh, there it is. Bus shelters. So we definitely need some of these, don't we? That's for sure. Bus shelter there and a bus shelter there. They're not buses. They're cars and taxis. Bus shelter. And there's one there as well. One there, one there. That's a bus stop, and that's a bus stop. These are also bus stops. So let's build 2, just because we can. And then 2 more here. 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. So we've got people that are now using the benches, and they will eventually start using the shelters, and that should start to make people feel a little bit happier about our airport. And we're starting to make it look much better than it was before. So we're in a position then that we've upgraded our gates, and we're into concrete, and our general aviation flights are also the same. Let's have a look at our operations. So we've now completed the fuel tanks and the multiple terminals, and that's our last one to research. So we can now start putting extra people onto our. There we go. So we can start putting extra people onto our separate programs. So I'm going to up that one to 5, that one to 4. We're going to wait for this one to finish. So we're going to need in total 30 administrators. So actually, let's bring those back down to 3, because we've now got 3 and we can do another one. Let's work on our airline relations. Let's do a 3 there. So this is now going to start to improve our relations with the airlines. So you can improve your airline satisfaction, even though you may be struggling somewhere else with what you're doing. So like you can see at the moment, we've still got delays. So that's still going to be annoying airlines along the way somewhere. I'm just going to double check why this may be, why they're delayed. Service round is in progress. Baggage loading is going on. I think it's just because they're delayed. I mean, this queue at the runway is not going to be helping at all. But I think what we'll need to do when we start getting a bigger airport, is to increase because we're going to run out of capacity if we open loads and loads and loads of gates. We can only handle 200 flights a day, and we're already on 18. We've only got one terminal. So I think what we might need to do is increase the length of time between the flights, so it gives them that little bit of extra space, and then that gives us a bit more to play with when we build our big terminal, and that will then alleviate and relieve the pressure on this runway. Like I say, we could bring the taxiway up here, but I'm very conscious that we want to introduce more general aviation, and actually let's do that now. We've got plenty of money. So we want our aircraft stand. We're going to go straight in with concrete this time. No, we don't want medium though. We only want a small one. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now this might end up overwhelming our general aviation, and that's where we're going to get to the point where, yeah, we suck at airport CEO. But we had fun getting there. We had fun ruining it. So let's give it a go and see what happens. So it's there, isn't it? Bring our taxiway out to here. Go. And we just need to connect. I think this connects as it is, just in case. Let's just bring it across. Go. And we need to get then ready to do our connection. Good, okay. And down here is now looking much lovelier. What's the rating for? So it's improved. It's still not great. It's not massively improved, but it's better than when we started the episode. So it's made some sort of a difference. And if anybody's got any suggestions on what we can do, then absolutely tell us, and we'll go ahead. We'll do it. So we need a new contract here. Let's get that signed. I think it's has to go. You'll do. We've got the contract there. You're still trading, and you're still trading. You're still trading, and you're still trading. Okay. Right. Taxiway still running. How are we doing with people? So we've got enough agents. We're still struggling slightly with ramp agents, and I think it's because we get spikes in demand. So we get a sudden load of planes that will land, and it suddenly then asks for agents that are all taken. Then we were missing 5 then. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a few more. Let's get 3 more. Still great, but you can see now, going back to our panel, that the issue we had before with the fuel trucks, we own far more than 6 of each. I think I capped them at 14 or 13. No, 14 of each. Outside of this episode, and it's now only registering 6, but 6 is enough. 6 is doing what it needs to do. It doesn't seem to be struggling. Like, for example, with this plane here that is already delayed, isn't delayed because of fueling, it's delayed because of other things. And I'm wondering actually whether that's to do with this as well. Let's close this and see if that works. What that now means is all of the 20 vehicles that were parked in this depot are now just going to be free roaming around the airport. But I don't want to close all of the depots because they're just going to keep roaming, and eventually you'll end up with gridlock. So that's not what you really want. But I do want to take the opportunity to build a relief road along here and along here and along here. Just because if we are going to let them drive around aimlessly like they are now, look, at least they've got an extra road that they can use. Okay. That's going to have freed up 20 vehicles that we can now use. And as you can see, baggage is still working fine. We're still receiving baggage, and it's still being scanned. It's being destroyed as it goes out, and it'll also do the same coming in as well. So our baggage is working. And if we go down to the baggage collection, they're all still happy. Still waiting for their bags. People are now starting to sit and wait at gates. Actually, one thing we could do before we wrap up this episode, let's put the windows in down here now as well, so that you're not in a prison in the domestic flights now. There. There we go. Okay, so let's put some windows in there as well. Okay, great. So you can see this one's all ready. I've only one bag to unload on that one. It's good news. There it is, just the one bag. Okay, so staff room. We never finished the staff room. Let's do that as well. Let's give them some seating, because at the moment they're just roaming around, wandering around the staff room. We need to give them something to do. There we go. Let's give them something to sit on. It's going to be a bit better. Toilets are clean. Good start. And you're okay. Passport control is under control. I'm just going to build out the queue. This, there we go, just gives us a bit of order. I'd like to do the same down here as well, albeit shorter. Just means that if we do get a sudden influx of check-in, which we haven't had so far, but if we do, it just gives them a little bit of a structure, a little bit of an order. To go in, our windows are now being built. And we're still making money. Let's have a look at money rise. Swap that to daily. So yesterday, our actual operating profit, 386,000, which is above average for the last 12 days. So we're heading in the right direction in terms of money. We started to beautify the airport. We started to make it much bigger. And I think we're starting to get to a point where we might be about done with this terminal. And this is where we're going to need to start building out then and thinking about how we're going to introduce medium stands, large stands, and let's start getting some big airlines in. I think in the next episode what I'd like to do is to build out the facilities we're going to use in the larger concourse that's going to sit between the two terminals. So in this space here, build out our bigger restaurant, and we're gonna use some of the fancier restaurants rather than just the generic contracts that use the generic things. We can start to have the bigger chain restaurants and the more fancy things, because that will then lead us quite nicely on to designing and building the terminal for the new building and laying out where we want our runways. And I think we're going to jump. I think we should just jump straight to the larger runways rather than go through medium, because our medium aircraft can still use the large runways. So I don't think we want to overwhelm the whole airport space with planes, with runways. We need to sort of think about function. So just before we finish, let's just get these done. So I'm going to connect these up to start accepting extra flights like that. Brilliant. Okay, so brings us quite nicely to an end then, to episode 11. So far we mildly suck, I think. But that's us more than anything. But it's okay. We're still afloat. The airport hasn't gone under. We're doing all right. So I think we're okay. So thank you so much for joining me again. And I'll see you for episode 12. Bye bye.